This conference will now be recorded.
Rob, first up, so excited to have you on the podcast today. I know we've been talking about this for a little while. Fun to get you on board.
Hey, Brett. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Cool. So normally we've had people from the sports landscape on. You're the first non-sports person that we've had on, which will be something that we do more often in the new year. So for my audience, can you talk a little bit about who you are and what's your background and your journey to your current job in real estate?
So you already guys know my name is Robert Villanueva. I'm original from New York City, Queens, New York, and I currently live in Houston, Texas. I'm in the industry of doing real estate. So developer, anything entitled to real estate, you name it, I'm somehow involved. So real estate right now is my bread and butter. I also do other investments with my partner, my brother, and we also have a restaurant downtown called Culture in downtown Houston as well.
Which is delicious. You've had a couple other stops along the way before you found yourself in real estate. What were some of the other things that you did before you your niche here?
Yeah, good question, Brad. So I have a communication background. I graduated from Queens College back in 2005. And in '05, I went straight, got a job at ESPN in Connecticut. And that's the same year that my younger brother got drafted. So we both agreed that he go plays pro, I put you on TV. So that was pretty cool. So I worked at ESPN for 4 years, and then from ESPN in Connecticut, I went to Fox Sports Detroit in Michigan. So while I was over there in Michigan, I covered the Pistons, the Tigers, and the Red Wings. So we did production stuff there. And then from there, I went to Florida and Fort Lauderdale, and where me and my older brother owned a creative agency, and we did social media stuff, video production, website designing, we did graphics, anything that an entrepreneur needs. It was like a one-stop shop for those clientels. And then from there, I went to Houston. But in the midst of all that, I was somehow connected with real estate. My dad was the one that kind of got me and my younger brother Charlie, into real estate in New York, and where we owned a few properties there. And we was able to manage them. We was making money, but we wasn't giving it 100%. You know, we were still doing our day-to-day jobs, but then yet still doing real estate on the side. And then when I was in Florida is when I came to realize, my fiance mentioned, hey, you should give real estate 100%. Since you're making all this money, you're not even giving it 100%. Like, if you give it 100%, then the turnout should be way better than what you're making now. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a leap of faith. We're going to move to Houston. I'm gonna get my realtor license and then start investing and building our portfolio in Houston, and Texas in general as well. And then here I am, 2 years in, and it's been a fun ride and still growing.
That's awesome. And what was it about real estate that attracted you to make it full time? What was it about the process that connected you?
Yeah, so you know me. I mean, I'm a people's person, right? So real estate allows you to connect with people, meet people, network, just mingle, and just meet all these different types of people that need helps in real estate, whether it's an investor, whether it's a person trying to buy, lease, or rent, or sell a house. But it's just being in the people business, and then at the same time having that flexibility of being able to still do what I want to do and not miss those special moments, you know, those life moments, you know, my brother's games back in the days, or my sister's graduation. You know, I didn't have that 9 to 5 where I had to go back and tell someone, hey, I need to use a sick day to take a day off. Where in real estate, you're more flexible, but on the downsides, I mean, you're on your work mode on 24/7.
Yeah. And so you and I are both newish to Houston. We met when we both really first got here. And I know that's something that happens in sports business sales too. Is a lot of times people relocate to a marketplace, which can be an advantage and a disadvantage. So how do you go about creating a name for yourself when you don't necessarily start with anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the key things to that is one, networking, right? You got to be out there, you got to network, you got to meet people. And then, yes, you meet people, but then two, you got to let the people like you too as a person. You got to connect with people. I think the fact that I lived in a lot of cities, I'm sports savvy, which I think how you and I connected was through sports. It's just finding ways to connect with people, right? And then building a brand and being consistent. So when I came to Houston, I already had the mindset of becoming this entrepreneur slash, real estate guru in Houston, Texas, and then branching out to Dallas and the other major cities. But it's just being consistent, man. Whether it's downtime or good time, it's just being consistent, following up with people, networking, meeting people, being out there, being involved in social media, which a lot of people don't take into consideration, and producing content for people to see what you're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, you do such a good job of that, and you said a lot of things there that were really great, and I definitely want to get into that branding and the social media in a little bit. But the first thing that you talked about is networking, which I think so many professional sports sales reps that I have, they go to networking events, they talk to each other, they don't branch out. How do you go about finding success through networking? Because I feel like every person that I meet when I'm with you is, oh, I met this person here, and oh, I met this person there, and it's incredible the network that you've been able to build in such a very short period of time, and inspiring,
Yeah.
really. So, how do you make sure that you take advantage of networking situations when you're in them?
So it's crazy, man. So one thing, I don't know if you know this, this might be the first time I tell you this. So I'm very like OCD. So I'm very neat. I'm structured. I like to plan things. Believe it or not, when I meet people, I have a spreadsheet that I actually generated before I actually moved to Texas. And now I plug in people's name, address, business, email, just so if I need someone in a certain type of industry, I can connect with them. And at the same time, I also use social media to my advantage to connect with them because that's, we're on our phone 24/7. So whether I'm in a red light, whether I'm just walking on my phone and I see somebody post, I can connect. Facebook reminds me of people's birthday. So I always send out, I somehow manage to still connect with them. If it's not now, on at least on a monthly basis, and just build that relationship, right? Let them know what I do. Also, try to help them, because right, if you could help someone, they will come back and use you. So that's one thing I always try to do when I meet people in this networking event. So just in general, just anywhere.
I mean, you really are incredible about that. And so I do want to stay on this point. You talk about connecting with people a lot, but to get them to really do business with you, they've got to trust you.
Yeah.
Um, and real estate really is all about gaining that trust and responsibility. So what is critical to getting someone to trust you to help them in their real estate buying or selling journey?
Man, I think it's just it's crazy because in today's world, a lot of people do research. They look at ratings. They look at reviews. So those are some of the things I do on the back end. But I think at the end of the night is um, just giving that positive energy. I'm big on energy, so it's like I could always read people. I would feel like the person is just I don't doesn't have a positive vibe. So I just try to always keep a smile on my face, be positive, and then also be responsive. I think people in today's world they're expecting an answer within. I think there's a stat out there. I don't know exactly what it is, but like people want a response within 2 to 3 minutes in the real estate world, and if you don't respond within those 2 or 3 minutes, they're going somewhere else. So I try to be responsive as quick as possible and also try to implement other services around my brand and my company to, be able to fulfill people's questions or needs. So yeah, being responsive and then just giving positive energy and then just let that just build that trust with you and your clientele.
That's awesome, and I think there's so much for sales reps to be able to take away from that conversation. So, on that note, let's move out to the branding because I think that's one area that you do such a good job. I see some other people in real estate, and they'll have a picture of a house or, some pictures inside the house. But one of the things I love about, following you on Instagram and some of these other channels is, watching you walk around inside the house and talk about it. And, talk to me about, from a 30,000 foot level, about how you've thought about creating your brand and how you think about what a client may want to see when you're creating your brand and executing on your brand.
So I think, the first thing, and I'm gonna use my Rob the TX Realtor brand in
Yep.
Texas as an example. So before coming here, I had to come up with a clever name, right? So Rob the TX Realtor, cool. That's something where it's simple, it's easy to remember, and it's catchy, right? So he's the Realtor of Texas. And then what I end up doing now is using it on a consistent basis on all types of platforms, whether it is paper money, is Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, my Google profile, like my email, everything has Rob the TX Realtor, because you want people to keep seeing it, even though they don't hit the like button, they're still seeing your post. You're still engaging with them. So you use that, and just like I said before, it's just being consistent. And then with that is just keep putting things out there in your brand that people want to see. They want to see the behind the scenes nowadays. People want to go and wear your shoes and what it is to be a realtor for the day, right? I take you inside the house. I'll show you what the new development is going on. I'll show you what we leasing. I'll show you the different types of materials versus granite and quartz. I'll show you even the bad side, when you get on the contract and somebody walks away because they get cold feet, because the roof is not, structure right. But yet still, you can still negotiate those things. So I like to just give people a realistic just view and just like, here's my world, and here you have a chance through these platforms to see what I go through as a realtor and as an entrepreneur as well. So yeah, so social media, it's what's golden, bro. And then just video content, man, and just being consistent and using hashtags, and also keeping up with the algorithm that Facebook and Instagram, because they own by the same owners. They go hand in hand, so you got to keep up with the technology as well, using Facebook ads and all that good stuff. We could be here for hours talking about social media and branding and how to connect, because it's so much, man.
For sure. And I think one of the things that stands out about yours and allows people to connect, there's two things, but I think they're tied together. So I want to start with the first one is you're so authentic on it too, right? So, what you'll find sometimes is the person that presents itself on social media isn't always the same person that you meet when you actually sit down face to face. And that can be really off-putting. You are exactly the same person on social media as the person that you meet in real life. How important is that to you, and how much do you think about that when you're posting or you're deciding what content goes up and what doesn't?
Yeah, it's funny, man. I'm always one of those I guess it's me. My character is just, I hate, I guess, fake people, or people that, I don't know, they persuade themselves a certain type of way, but yet they're not. So I just had to keep it, especially in today's world. Like, if people want to look up how much you make or see how you live in, like, they could find that out, in today's world. People will do the research. So I always try to keep it as organic as possible, whereas like whatever you see through social media is the same thing you're going to get when you meet me in person. So because the last thing you want is to be categorized as he's talking about this, but in reality he's not that. And bad energy travels faster than good energy, which is crazy.
And then the other thing that I think ties into it is, I know this from having been on some of your social media channels and in pictures at ice skating rinks and Rockets games and having a beer at a bar. There's this thought that as a professional, if I'm going to use my account to be a professional sports person, I need to hide part of who I am, and yet you're very open with who you are in all those different areas. And you know that some people may see you professionally. Why do you think it's important when you think about, taking it away from the work side, but, putting it into more of a social side? Why do you feel comfortable blending those two areas, your professional life with your personal life?
Yeah, I know it's funny, man. It's a good question, man. It's funny because my fiance is totally the opposite. She's very private. She doesn't post a lot. And then she's like, man, why you posting so much and doing this and pulling out your camera while we eating dinner? All those are cool. But for me, in my eyes, it's like content, content, content. It's like it's cool content that people are gonna appreciate, and it's something like I just got to be consistent with. It's tough because it now becomes part of your life, right? But you also have to adapt to what the world is giving you. If you want to keep growing and being successful in this world, you have to adapt to technology. I mean, we look back at cell phone and the internet, right? I mean, remember 10 years ago when we was using what was it, American Online? AOL? Yeah, AOL, and we was content. But try to put us in DSL now, and you see how angry we get because the response rate is not, up to speed. So we have to keep up with the technology and the movement that goes on in this world. And it's one of those things, because before kind of getting into real estate 100%, I had a creative agency and I was able to learn how important it was to, to show people what you do on a daily basis. I mean, look at the Kardashians. They started a brand that, I mean, it's worth billions of dollars now. You see what they do, and it was something simple that, man, we could have done and just open up the doors to people, and then just grow from there and build a brand. But it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, and you kind of have to just accept it and let the doors open. And the good thing is control content, right? Like I get to control what I get to post, you know. So yeah, so I saw the change and I saw the way the direction, branding, marketing, advertising was going. I'm like, I got to jump on this train and make sure if I want to grow in this type of business, I have to open up the doors and piggyback from what everyone else is doing in this world.
And for you, it gives, people are going to make a decision about you, whether or not you can control the message. And so in a lot of ways, this is your ability to control the message about the decision they make about you personally, in a way, right?
Yep. Yeah, and it's funny, man, because this is funny. So I'll post something like an old picture, and like, oh, are you here? I'm like, no, I'm not there. But it's just, it has its pros and cons. But at the end of the day, you have to be consistent and you have to adapt to the way this world is moving to video content, just branding, marketing, and eventually it's going to be 3D stuff. I mean, I think Facebook has now like a whole 3D image you could use on your profile picture, which is pretty dope. So yeah, man, it's just adapting to technology and then using it wisely too, strategically, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And so switching gears here a little bit, you know, you love going to sporting events. We met at a sporting event. We've gone to a
Right.
bunch of events together. What is it about the sporting experience and knowing you grew up with it, knowing you play ball, knowing that you had a brother who played ball? What is it about a sporting event still to this day after you've been to thousands of them and participated in thousands of them? What is it about sporting events these days that still draw you in and make you want to go?
Man, it's simple, bro. It's always something new, right? It's always a new story. It's not the same. There's always something new. No matter how old you are, there's always something new. There's a story behind it. Uh, and it's just seeing, these professional guys, and and I appreciate a lot more because one, I play basketball myself, not professionally, but I was able to play, Division II back in New York. But then also seeing my brother and the work he put in at such a young age to get to the NBA, and then play 11 years in the NBA. You get to appreciate the hard work that these individuals put in all these sports. I mean, you saw the Tiger Woods and the Phil Mickelson. I mean, it was just you could tell like it doesn't matter how old it is, it's still like competitive. It's still a new story, and it's always. I mean, it's always been in my blood, man. So I appreciate the art. Um, and I love it. Sports is everything.
Great. I mean, I think sometimes we need to listen to our fans a lot more, and how you describe it there every sales rep should be taking notes on that. And then, in helping out our brethren, and I'll make sure that you're not besieged with ticket buying requests here, especially from people in Houston. But how would you, if season tickets landed in your lap, which is one of my favorite questions I always used to ask companies, if season tickets for, let's say the Houston Rockets landed in your lap, how would you use them to support your business?
Man, that's amazing. Let's make it happen. I think it just gives you a different, I guess, environment out of that whole corporate, type world. Being in a cubicle, being in your office, you're in a sporting event, and you get to let loose a little bit and network. I think having season tickets, and you're a business owner, it's amazing because you could invite and bring in a group of people from all different types of industries and connect them, right? I mean, it goes back to networking. So it gives you a different avenue to connect and network with people that, who knows, they might be your next business partner in the next deal, because you invited them to the game. Or it could be the game where, James Harden drops 100 points and you guys were there to witness it. And that's the beautiful thing about sports, So I think it's very important. I love to go to season ticket holders, especially suites, because it gives me another opportunity to go, mingle and meet people and, and professionals.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think one of the points you make there is, obviously being there to be able to remember something forever. But, for
Hmm.
me, for you, it's something you're passionate about too, right? So they'll feel like they get to know you more by being around you in that environment. And obviously, as we talked about, the more comfortable they are, the more they trust you, the more likely they'll do business with you.
Exactly, exactly. And you guys might like the same sports team or the same player, and because of that connection, kind of like you and I, right? I mean, we went to a WWE match, and it so happened you're from Connecticut. My brother played at UConn, and then it was like we was BFF after that, right? So it was like you could have that connection with someone, and it could just open up the doors to other things, in the near future.
Or even disagreeing on things, right? I don't
Oh
think you
yeah, you're right.
on everything that we've talked about when it came to sports, but I think those memories work just as well too, because those conversations are fun. Being able to agree or disagree about sports, having different teams you root for, learning about other people through sports, it's just really cool.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
So you're getting married. You're also one of the most personable and sociable people I've ever met. And as we've discussed, and you talked about it a little bit before, part of your job is being on call almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And yet every time I see you, you're upbeat. Every time I see you, it's a good mood. I know you're not there 100% of the time, but
Man.
how do you maintain such a positive work-life balance with such a demanding job?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. To this day, I'm still working on the balance, which is so key. Uh, it's just finding that balance, right? I mean, I don't have kids, so that helps out a lot to, kind of do both work and spend quality time with my beautiful fiance. And then also do life things, right? Go to the ice rink, go watch a movie at the theater, do like the little things that, enjoy moments memorable moments that, we could share with your significant other. But man, it's so hard, man, because I'm so driven. I'm just trying to build the brand and keep growing that you're like chasing and chasing it. But the good thing about having a good, person aside next to you is they remind you that, hey, we're still people. We still have to appreciate the family time with your family and friends and still find time for that. So she kind of brings me back into this, okay, let me just stop working and do, memorable things and moments and enjoy the life that we have here because tomorrow's never promised.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, I think one of the things that, it's easy for a sports business salesperson to get so wrapped up in terms of what you're doing, but I think you make a good point. One of the things when, I talk to another entrepreneur or burgeoning entrepreneur, one of the things I say is, listen, take time every single day to do something you wouldn't be able to do if you were in an office.
Yeah.
Whether that's literally just like going to the store to buy dog food, or to do something like, going ice skating, and meeting up with you to go ice skating and have lunch. I think taking that time, and I think that's something equally that sports reps need to do. They need to find moments to be able to disassemble who they are personally and as a fan from what that job is, and be able to take a step back and say, what I do every day is really cool. So I think the point you make there is critical. And then you just touched on it. I think one of the things that I found so impressive about you is how driven you are, and how big your goals are. So when you get up every day, and this is my favorite question to ask, what is it that drives you?
Wow, good question, Brett.
Thanks, buddy.
I would say now it would have to be my fiance. Just to see her, we live together now, and just to know what we have, the foundation we planted thus far since in the last 5 years. When I wake up and I see, her, my son, I'm like, all right, cool. I got to get up, make this happen. Just being the man of the household is just, it drives me to do more. Just not be content, but keep doing more. And also the background where I come from, right? Growing up as a child, we grew up in a single family home, and my mom, and I've seen the struggle that my mom, went through to get, 3 kids through high school, middle school, high school, and then into college. So those are the things that I don't want my kids to go through, and I want to put them in a good position to be successful. Not saying that my mom didn't, but it was very hard for her being a single parent. So those are the two things that my mom and the way I was grew up, and then my fiance are the two things that drives me to just keep getting better in life, and and I could say those the purpose of me being who I am now.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And I think anybody that spends 5 minutes around you knows how genuine you are about those things, and comes and walks away being incredibly impressed. And I know, everyone from my family to everyone I've ever introduced always walks away so impressed by you, and the impact that you leave on people. So I really appreciate the time, and couldn't be more thrilled that, our first step outside of sports on the Top Seller podcast is with one of my best friends. So appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, thank you, brother, man. Anytime for you, man. You know you're a brother, bro. Get ready for the wedding. Get ready for the wedding, bro.
Absolutely, bud. I couldn't be more excited. Thanks again.
All right, thanks, bro.